My name is Ansi Segli. We are here at World Cup of Indoor Skydiving, GoAirborne Macau 2024, and today we are speaking to
Gary Smith, coach of the Qatar team, the Lions and the Cheetahs, together with Luc Verstraeten from Belgium. I'm from South Africa originally, and I lived in America for 10-12 years in DeLand for skydiving, and now I'm living in Netherlands, but I'm also working with the Qatar teams.
Wow, what a story, man. So, are you a paratrooper?
I was in the South African military for 2 years. It was a conscription. We had to go after school, but I was never in the, I was already doing free fall, so I was never in the parabats, no. But the skydiver, yes. They asked me to become a paratrooper. I had to sign on 3 extra years. And in those days, it was no ways. 2 years was enough for me.
Okay. Do you speak Afrikaans?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And also Nederlands. So Afrikaans and Dutch is very similar, but with different pronunciations and sentence structures. I'm a mixture between the two, so I'm a disaster in both.
Okay, great. So, how goes for Team Qatar so far?
Well, for Qatar Tigers, they are going super good. They are first in the Asiana, they are third in the World Cup, but they trained and they are ready for this competition. And I have been working with the Lions together with Luc and the Cheetahs, which is the junior, the up-and-coming teams. And we are going good. We had, unfortunately, some member changes from during the Ramadan. So when we arrived here just before, 4 days before the competition, we were untrained with in each group we had a new guy. And yes, the one guy could fly, but he had never flown in that position. So we were worried about it, but he has done an outstanding job. But for sure, we're a little bit lower than we wanted to be, but we have to be realistic. We are happy with where we are, with both groups.
Great. So how long does it take, to be perfect in four-way?
You're never perfect. You're never
right.
perfect. It's like football. Manchester City, Barcelona, you're never perfect. If you look at Arizona Airspeed, I would say right now they are close to perfect. They are, and they have been together, that team now, since 5, 6, 7 years that they have been going with that group. And they will change after this year, after the outdoor meet, they will change 2 members. But you come in with a lot of, in that group, for example, they will pick up 2 players, and depends what, it'll take them 2, 3, 4 years to get back to where they are. So it depends where you start from. So I would say especially wind tunnel, you learn quicker in a wind tunnel. To train for a wind tunnel competition, if you could do 4 or 5 years with some very talented flyers, you could be in the top 5, 6. I wouldn't put you in the top 3. And then after that, it takes a bit of time. But if you put, like, Italians have got some very good flyers, but if you train, you need to train harder and you need to train more specific for one event.
Okay, so what is the essence of four-way generally for the watchers who probably will watch it for the first time?
Well, it's number one. It's a team sport, so
okay.
you need to be synchronized. You need to be synchronized and gelled in your camaraderie outside. Number one, you need to get on with each other. You need to respect each other. So in that sense, I really enjoy it, because it's not only about flying. You can put the best flyers in the world together, but if they don't communicate well and they don't like each other, it's not going to last. Maybe 1 or 2 years, and even then they will not win. Because if a team has fun and they can high-five each other and smile at each other, that's the team that you're going to go. And for me to work with, I'd rather work with a team that's less experienced or less talented, but they like to fly and they like to be together, because I know I can get that team to get better and better. But if a team that doesn't communicate, it's the hardest job in the world.
Okay, ego must be switched off.
Yeah, but ego is no problem as long as we all understand and we respect each other. There's egos in every sport. Even you look at the top football teams in the world, Real Madrid, a lot of egos, but they work together and they like each other. So egos, it can be in the sport, there's no doubt. I don't necessarily like it as long as it's accepted and held inside, you know?
Okay, good.
Egos is normal,
All right. So, what was your way up to the Qatar team trainer?
I was a South African champion for many years. I'm going to give how old I am. I started my first world meet outdoors was 1991 until 1997. I represented South Africa. And we got to the end. We had no money, we had nothing. We came third in the world, and that we're very, very happy. First time ever for South Africa. But I wanted more. together with a very good friend, my best friend and teammate, Solly Williams, we moved to America. And we thought we have to get onto an American team. So we switched, we got residency, green card. We ended up, eventually in 2003, we were selected for USA team to land Magic. And we won the World Championship outdoor in 2004 in Croatia. And then I continued and I became world champion again in 2006. And then after that, I had to look into my bank balance and it was empty. So then all the time we had been coaching, but for me I had to take a step back and I started coaching. And I was lucky enough to be asked by Hayabusa in 2011. I started working with Hayabusa, and together with them I've had a fantastic journey, and I've coached them all the way through. And with that, with my exposure with Hayabusa, I also picked up the Qatar job. So I started working with Qatar when I was already with Hayabusa, and it was never a problem. Both bosses were okay with it. And then the last years, I've also done some of the Qatar Tigers. And now one of the Hayabusas that I coached, Andy Gravels, is now coaching them, which is fantastic to see. He's taken over my job with the Qatar Tigers.
Okay.
So yeah, that's fantastic.
Okay, so in what ways outdoor and indoor differs?
Indoor is a little bit easier. In the sense that you can see the scores are way higher. It's also, just from the outside point of view, you know you have tunnel time at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. The tunnels, you go. When you go outdoors, it's the full day. You arrive on the drop zone at 8, and then you have a problem with the weather, or the aeroplane, or the manifest is too full, too many tandems, and then you have to look and you go, oh, and then it's a whole day, and you've only made 8 jumps. When the tunnel, we get in, and in 1 hour of training, let's say it takes us 4 hours, 1 hour in the tunnel, you are doing 45 different jumps. Okay. You know, so in that sense, you can then be more specific. I can pull one guy out, I can jump in and feel what's good or bad, get out, put him back in, turn forward, turn backwards. Your communication is so much easier in the tunnel. You can come out, talk, and get straight back in and do it. With jumping, you have to land, parachute has to be packed, you have to look at the video, and then you have to wait 3 hours before you're on the load. So it's much tougher. The commitment outdoor is way, way bigger than indoors. So indoor teams you can get together so much quicker and get up than outdoors.
Okay. So, and when we're considering all this sport, and you've been in it for 30 years already.
Yes, too long.
Yeah. How do you see the progress of the sport in general, indoors and outdoors, and how they complement each other?
Unbelievable. They complement each other 100%, except now indoors has become, I just need to make sure I don't miss my group. Indoors has become so specific now that it's almost drifted away from outdoors. People can come in here and they become so good, but because they don't jump a lot, it's totally different outdoors. And you don't have the tunnel walls, you don't have the net as an outside reference. So it's one of those that we go, indoors is becoming more specific. We use it for outdoors for sure as a training tool. Like example, Hayabusa, one of the best teams in the world, is not here now because they have a new member and they are training for outdoors. Okay. So they have done some tunnel training, but they cannot afford to come here time-wise because it's interrupting their outdoor training. Okay. So it's for sure it's becoming further and further apart. The tunnel is way more specific. It's quicker. If you look at the averages now, the top teams are chasing 35 average here in indoors. Outdoors, the top in the world is close to 28, just on 28 average. So it's 1.5 pages, 7 points difference in speed. Okay.
Do you see that the sport itself is growing in size? Because I'm asking it because, back in the days there was rummers that they probably could be Olympic indoor skydiving. Yeah. So, but it means, it has to become something bigger than it was.
I think indoor is growing more, for sure, more rapidly than outdoor. Outdoors becomes a big financial burden. Okay. Indoor, a little bit less. As far as costs go, you're not paying for your parachutes, you're traveling all the time. You just go travel to the tunnel, you can stay 4 days and you can make a whole training camp. That's number one. And then size into the Olympic is difficult because the Olympics also have, do they allow anything that's green friendly, environment friendly? Is that going to be accepted? Anything working with engines, is that going to be allowed into the Olympics? I don't know.
Okay.
So that's my worry with the Olympics. I think our sport is good. Maybe we'd have to make it more creative, even with the artistic events. It's good, but sometimes if you've seen 2 or 3 of the same routines, it's a little bit different. I think the music with the freestyle, very good, and some of the free routines on the two-way dynamics. But when you see the two-way speeds going back and forth and the four-ways, it looks very similar. So I always think of it, shame my mother's passed away, but I always think of it, if she had to look at it, she would be bored maybe on four-way, bored very quickly on FS. But if she looks at that, she'll go, wow, but then after 3 returns, she'll look away. Okay. And I think that's what we have to get into the Olympics. We need people to go, that's incredible, you know?
All right. So what's your take on generational shift and the age of participants on different disciplines? Do you see the difference?
Yeah, for sure. And we've been discussing it even in the Qatar delegation. We need to bring up youngsters, juniors, kids. It needs to come into our sport because by the time you get to 18, 19, 20, and you look at these young kids that have started when they were 8, 9, 10, you cannot compete with them.
Yeah, because you know what I've noticed, like let's say 4 ways and 2, like part of the 2-way in terms of the age are much different to the freestyle because freestyle is like mostly young guys.
Yeah, but I think 4-way is, like I said, it's a team thing. And freestyle, you just get in and the young kids can learn. I think they should be doing that. But eventually when you get into 4-way, it's about the big things about team dynamics, respecting each other, being on time. It's like a tennis player. Synchronicity. And not flying for yourself, but flying for a team. And
what I as well noticed is inclusivity.
Yes.
Men and women, you know, no difference, and freestyle, so there is no gender differentiation.
It will maybe go there. I mean, it's a big topic having the female category. I think they fly as well as fast. We see with the China one team, the female is right there in the medal rankings in the open. But I do understand we want to grow our sport. So the more categories we can have, the bigger our sport. It goes into the Olympics, we have more.
All right. So I've noticed that majority of the athletes are relatively smaller in size, and you are one of the tallest guys here. Did you notice that?
That's why I'm not flying.
All right. All right.
No, for sure. Smaller, more gymnastic. That's what you need in the tunnel.
All right.
You know? So for sure, if you want to become a world champion, you can't be as tall. I'm not saying the tall guys cannot do it, but it's more difficult for sure. Smaller, shorter, fit more in the tunnel, especially 14 foot.
All right. But, the final question is about the tunnel. Yes. What have you heard out of the crowd?
Well, before coming here, I have to be honest, I had some misinformation because I thought it was the same tunnel as they have in Luxembourg, the Lux Fly, but apparently it's not. But we did hear that there was a drop-in at the door. So especially, I think maybe for dynamic, for the free flyers, it doesn't matter too much. But for the FS, for the formation teams launching, we are coming in flatter. So there's more body surface coming in, and we have obviously 3-4 people coming in. And if the first guy comes in, we slide the formation in. When we slide it in, if the first guy drops or the first person drops, then it concertina affects and the formation goes down. So you'll see a lot of the four-way teams, as they enter, they go into the net. But if you're aware of it and you learn to take a step and jump it, like you see Arizona Airspeed, they jump it up to 3 foot up, it's no problem. And we learned it, the more you can train it, it's no big problem. But what I do like is the step does drop down. I don't like that for the actual exit. It's nice to stand on a step and not be standing half-half. But for the exit, it's nice. And I heard that's from your engineers. I heard that that's one of the reasons why they have that drop-in is for students, for people to exit. It's a safer exit. So the only question for me would be, is that creating that extra turbulence? Can you fix that step like an inch or half an inch up for competition?
Okay.
And then you can somehow, once the flying, once the team is in, you somehow can release it, adjust it. So that would be something for the future. But as far as the tunnel goes in the air, it's really, really good. The power is super good, and the air is clean. So we really like that.
Great. And the steps thing is, if you noticed in a freestyle, our Tom Sivans,
yes,
when he slammed, you know, if it won't be, you know, elastic, so he would hurt himself. So it's because of safety.
So I really understand it, and I think it's a good addition. It's only, I'm not sure with the deflector and the step that drops down, is that deflecting the air, creating that little bit of dead end, and we feel it in the formations for sure.
All right. Gary, thanks you so much.
Thank you very much.
I wish Team Qatar all the success in the championship, and talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time and your help. Thank you.